Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Lost Light Issue 6. Transformers Till All Are One is coming to an end, and pre-orders are up for the Respect the Prime album Special Convention Edition. We have all of this and a whole lot more all on this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Transmissions wouldn't be what it is today without the awesome support of our listeners. If you'd like to support our shows and enjoy the exclusive benefits that our donors get, please visit transmissionspodcast.com/support.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that believes love is love, even for giant transforming robots. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Not Yusuf, he's not here. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Now you know Charles reads the script.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Who put the question mark on the teleprompter? Let's talk Transformers.
All right, and if you listen to our main transmission show this week, you know that we have a special guest because Yoshi is a slacker and is not here. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us on this week's episodes.
Apparently, I'm very special. I get another episode that went way overboard. Thank you guys for putting up with me again.
It's fun.
We love having you. As long as John Paul Beauvais is far away.
Oh, come on, we are the dynamic duo when it comes to podcasting. We could take over the podcasting world, me and John Paul.
I look forward to the Nicole and JP show.
It never ends.
That would be the top of the iTunes charts.
It could be what JP loves Nick, like Jody loves Chachi kind of show.
All right, well, let's start off with some donations. We have a new Patreon subscriber we mentioned in the main show, and this is Warriors, War, and Weed. Thank you again for your awesome contribution. We hope you're enjoying the show as you're doing other things while you're listening, I guess.
I2assume they're landscaping.
Very aggressively.
They wage war on dandelions.
I don't see how you can take that any other way.
Nope.
And we also, in between the two shows, even though we record them back to back, we got another donation from Stargate Pioneer.
Wow,
That's
awesome. That's how long the last show I was on recording was.
That's how long it took.
Yeah. He's a fellow podcaster. I follow him on a few other shows, and he was wanting to check out the Discord thing, and he liked it so much he gave us some money.
Oh, that's
awesome.
So thanks a lot.
I guess he'll be back.
And a while back, he also bought a couple copies of the comic. So, it's good people.
Nice. All right. Well, before we get into all the media and comics discussion proper, I did want to mention there's some community activity going on within the Transformers community. First of all, Chris McFeely, a well-known Transformers fan from Ireland, just released on YouTube his new series, Transformers: The Basics. So episode 1 is out right now, so you can go listen to it. It was actually out when this show goes up, it'll almost be a week old, so you'll be ready for episode 2 tomorrow. And Chris is going through and trying to, break down all the massively complicated Transformers fiction and just give you the basics. So for people who are new to Transformers or not familiar with it, this will help them. It'll be a nice little primer. So this first episode it's short. It's about a 10-minute episode, and it talks about all the different continuities. And this is it's a fun little episode. It goes into all the different lore and everything.
And once you get the continuity episode out of the way, everything else is easy. But I've got to say the production quality on this is great. I thought he did a great job with it, and I'm looking forward to I guess it's 3 more episodes.
Yeah, every episode, one episode every week or every Saturday in June. So nice.
Yeah, McFeely is like the most perfect person for this.
Yep.
My only problem is he's too calm in the show. You got to remember, I used to do a comic book podcast with McFeely. The best thing about McFeely is when he gets on a rant. I love it. Because his voice goes up like 3 octaves.
Yeah, but I think that's a whole different show.
Yeah, but McFeely he's so brilliant when it comes to Transformers. I mean, he knows stuff that is so obscure and it's just amazing how his brain works. And he's going to get the details right. He's the guy that will do this very well. I'm so happy to see him do it. Like you said, the production value is amazing. Yeah, way to go, McFeely. I'm so proud of you.
And the only thing I did want to mention one thing, it's a great video. Everything's great about Transformers. When he starts off to talk about, the different continuities and what's going on with Transformers and how, what's going on with today's shows and everything, he has one line that stuck out at me, and he says, "And what does that cartoon have to do with the one my parents or older siblings watched when they were kids?" So that told me I am not the target demographic for this video. But that's awesome. I think everyone should check that out and keep watching.
Who knows? Maybe your parents watched Cybertron or Energon. You don't. You make me watch G1, but your parents were into something different. So, maybe that's what he was saying.
All right. Well, another little fan project that we've been associated with on Transmissions for a while now is the Respect the Prime tribute album, or G1, the Transformers the movie cover album. And it's getting a special convention edition this year. And that was just announced last week again when this show goes live. And
Pre-orders are up.
Yes.
So I thought it was just going to be available at conventions, but apparently not.
Yeah, they say they're offering a few on their website, but they're limiting the whole release to 300 copies.
Wow.
So that's it. And it's physical only, no digital, physical only, 300 copies, and that's it.
Yeah, and this does differ from the one that was released last year. There's some extra tracks.
And there's new album art, so it's got art by Nick Roche and Josh Perez.
I love this artwork.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yep. And yeah, it's a nice symmetry there because the original cover was done by Casey Collar and John Paul Bove, and it was Optimus Prime opening his chest with the Matrix. And here, this one is Galvatron with the Matrix on the chain on his chest from the '86 movie. So
and it looks like it's doing the $12. So
yep.
It's the same as it was last time.
Yep. So this is awesome. If you should order this online, or if you have a chance to pick it up at a convention. So this is going to be available at TFCon Toronto and TFCon DC, so both the Canadian and American shows, and at Dark Side of the Con 2, which is going to be in 2018, March 16th and 18th, 2018. So convention exclusive, or kind of convention edition, but not quite exclusive. Yeah, so this is put together by our friend of the show, Jimmers. And this is all the proceeds go to cancer research. He's a cancer survivor, and he's doing this for, making sure that people don't have to suffer.
Yeah, it's one of the best causes out there.
That's awesome. Yep. Music and something to go for a good cause. I mean, stopping you from buying it. It's great.
And the music is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get into some comics news. Nothing really exciting happened last week in the world of Transformers comics, so nothing to mention. But of course, I'm lying. But we'll start with the small stuff, and we'll build up to the big news that came last week. No. Starting off, Comixology has a huge IDW Transformers comic book sale. This is going on throughout the month of June. I believe it goes all the way till June 29th. Looks like everything is about half off, or heavily discounted, including Till All Are One number 10, which just came out last week. That's also on sale for, is it 99 cents or $1.99?
Yeah, 99 cents.
Yeah, so A brand new comic just came out last week. You can get it for less than $1 in the digital format.
The email I got from Comixology advertising the sale was I think I found a Transformer sale. So
nice.
Props to the marketing guys at Comixology. That was fun.
We also had kind of a surprise release from IDW. There's a free comic book on their website. It's a free digital comic you can download from their website. It's the Last Night Schick Hydrobot one-shot. So if you've seen the commercials for Schick Razor, where the Razor transforms into a little robot, and Optimus Prime is there as well, IDW made that into a comic book, and it's written by John Barber, with art by Juan Castro and inks by Brian Shearer, and colors by lots of people: Zach Atkinson, Triona Farrell, Leonardo Ito, Joanna LaFuente, Fran Gamboa, Goncalo Lopez, and the cover art was done by Sarah Peter Durocher. So lots of cool artists, and it's.
Now, have you guys read this yet?
I did.
I have read it. Yes.
It was cute, and
yeah,
it was free, and I was impressed that it was a full-size comic.
Yep.
So.
Oh, and the pencils were by Steve Kurth. I didn't mention him, but yeah.
I actually thought it was a pretty cute comic. You know, it's not going to be one of those ones that's going to live the test of time, but it was fun. It really was.
Yeah.
They got a lot of mileage out of a commercial for Schick razors.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next time we have a week without a new comic, I think this should slot in.
There you go.
Next, we've got a new artist working on the First Strike. They've got a cover for the First Strike crossover. And Daryl, I'm going to let you talk about this because you actually met this guy.
Yeah, I saw him today, actually. This is cover art by Willis Portaccio, and he is I'm going to say legendary artist, mostly on the Marvel side that I know him from, but he's basically drawn everything. You would probably know his art if you have read Uncanny X-Men and you know the character Bishop. He was the artist that drew the first appearance of Bishop, so that's his artwork. He did the covers and that kind of stuff. So that's probably his most famous cover. But yeah, he was at Niagara Falls Comic-Con that I was at today, and I was talking to him about the Transformers, G.I. Joe, and M.A.S.K crossover event, and he was saying that he was really enjoying working on the books. It seems like he's just doing a cover, but he is doing the covers are interlocking, so he's got probably a big canvas that he's done for all. Yeah. Whatever the books are, 3. I think it's a 3-issue series.
Yeah, it's a 5-issue. He's doing 1, 3, and 5.
Okay.
Retailer incentive covers.
Cool.
And if you look at the CBR article that's linked in this story, they have a super high res version of that image.
That's cool.
This is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. He was mentioning at the show that he really liked working with the characters. He wished he got to use more of the Transformers characters, but I guess there was a limit on what he was allowed to use. So he was pretty excited, though. And I look forward to seeing the books in print.
This Optimus Prime looks awesome in this cover. So cool. that already has me on board for this artwork.
Yeah, I mean, so many of these like name artists that come in to do these get the robots wrong, and this looks great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's an Image co-founder. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, there were so many artists that co-founded Image.
Well,
he's been around for a number of years now. They'll probably be expensive covers when they come out, because from the article it does say that they're one of 50s. So those tend to be around I don't know, $25 for me, maybe more. So
yeah, and I gotta correct myself. It's a 6-issue miniseries with 2 issues a month.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, so I'm sure they're going to be expensive, but they look awesome.
All right, now we come to the sad, disappointing, bittersweet news. I mean, it's pretty much old news by now, but you should have already heard. Till All Are One has been canceled. The last issue will be issue 12 of the comic, and there will be an annual to tie up some of the story threads at the end of the year, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty disappointing. I mean, we've been consistently praising Till All Are One on the show. We think it's been the strongest Transformers comic since the Revolution relaunch and everything. I think it's been really delivering on the right mix of action and story, where we've been having problems with the pacing of the other Transformers comics in the last 6 issues. Yeah, this is kind of disappointing. I mean, if you can go look at the sales charts and see that unfortunately the sales are not great for any of the Transformers comics these days. So,
Yep.
And I don't know why, because it's good storytelling. I don't get it.
Yeah.
There was a section of her blog post, of Mairghread's blog post, that is no longer there, talking about how it was on track to break even with issue 12 in terms of profitability, but that section is now gone. So I don't know what if there was pressure from IDW to remove that or what, but it sucks for her because, I mean, this is like yet another series that she has that is, I mean, she's getting a lot of praise for, like with the first Windblade in particular, things out of her control are causing it to be canceled. I mean, they're saying she's doing it on her own terms, but she doesn't want to change the story she's doing to fit in with a crossover or whatever is coming down the line. And I mean, look at the second Windblade, which Dark Cybertron basically killed.
You mean Combiner Wars?
Yeah, that's what I said, Combiner Wars.
I think at this point we can say that I don't, at least for me, we were cautiously optimistic about Revolution last year before it happened, and I think for me this is this tells me that Revolution was not a success for me. I mean, if you're killing Till All Are One. And I mean, we see with First Strike, a bunch of the other, Hasbro books are now either ending or going to be quote unquote relaunched again.
Most
so,
of them.
I don't think Revolution, on the balance was a great move.
I think they try to do too much too fast.
Yeah,
they should have done launched with G.I. Joe / M.A.S.K as one book, Transformer books, and then maybe ROM, which was set out in space and didn't interact with Earth until like a year later. I mean, I think they should have done it a little bit slower, but they're trying to be Marvel and just, they see everything that's going on in the industry with got to do crossovers, got to get all of our IP together, and they need to do more of the long game, I would think, and build up the audience.
Yeah, and I think, I feel like they're trying to be Marvel, and Marvel's kind of heading in the wrong direction. So I don't know why you should try to be them at this point. I mean, you've been talking a lot about DC and how DC's been streamlining their comics a lot, and I think that's. I
mean, DC with the Rebirth stuff, they're playing the long game.
Yeah,
every series has various hints and small pieces are seeded, but it's not the focus of the issues. Except for the direct tie-ins like the Button, Flash, and Batman crossover and some stuff that directly impacts Superman. But other than that, it's just been kind of very subtle. And I think that's really, the industry has shifted, and I think we're burnt out on constant big events. And people want to read their books with the characters that they love, and they don't necessarily want to have it interact with all the other characters all the time and interrupt their story that they're enjoying. And I think that's probably likely something that's happening here, where she knows that she has people that are enjoying the story that she wants to tell.
I guess that's what you get when you have a big company like Hasbro wanting to put in certain characters in their comics. Toy-wise, they've got to have their say with their product. I guess that is one of the issues.
We keep saying that, and every time we talk to a creator, they've been adamant that Hasbro has left them alone. So
I want to believe them, but then you look at certain things and I'm like, how does this work?
So, maybe they suggested the bringing everything together, but then, that doesn't make sense on a sales schedule. Like putting, like maybe not a schedule, but sales wise, Hasbro wouldn't care whether all of their characters are all in the same universe. That for story wise, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I don't think Hasbro has been influencing the books that much. It's fun to joke about it. Honestly, I truly believe what the creators are saying, that there really isn't that much influence from Hasbro.
Yeah, I think one of the things we are seeing is how much John Barber was doing to try to protect some of the other Transformer titles while he was in the role of editor. Because it seems like now, because he had been there for so long, now the current editors are still trying to kind of find their way and maybe don't feel like they have the ability to say no to certain ideas, and we're just getting everything thrown against the wall.
Well, along with being disappointed that Tallulah 1 is ending, we also got more disappointment because Mairghread actually gave us a little bit of a laundry list of things she wanted to write about but didn't have time to. And so these are all things that you will not be seeing in future issues of Tallulah 1 because there won't be any. So she mentioned wacky adventures of Ironhide's private security firm featuring Tall Tankor and Fat Tankor.
That should be its own book.
That would be awesome.
An issue of Titan's Return, which was just about McAdam's crew having to defend the bar from being smushed. Light Bright and Spark Stalker's Conjuncts Endura ceremony. Bringing together all the femmes from the G1 crew into one team for an issue.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That would have been hard with Firestar still out in space, but that would have been cool. Breakdown calling out Knockout for weight shaming. That's funny. Exploring all the racial tribal divides in Eucharis. Giving Metroplex an avatar so he could move around the city and meet people like a normal bot. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'm wondering now that she's putting all these out there if other writers are going to avoid them just because she put them out there.
Yeah, but I'm not going to read the whole list, but that's a sampling. But yeah, it's
the last funny one I thought was Tall Tanker and Fat Tanker meet the Micromaster Tankor. It turns into a train, and they hate him for no reason, and he just can't get into the Tankor clique.
That
seems like she really loved the Tankers.
Yeah,
that's what my favorite. I love it.
I mean, it's always nice to kind of play with the naming conventions of Transformers and the fact that multiple Transformers have the same names, and that was the Fat Tankor and Tall Tankor is the best example of that. Yeah, I mean, so on top of this, I mean, it's also kind of a punch to the gut because we get this issue which Tallulah 1 number 10, which came out the same time this was announced that it's canceled. And Tallulah 1 number 10 is, it made a lot of waves. It was very controversial because some people didn't like the whole, I mean, there were varying degrees of reaction. Some people didn't like the kind of, more physicality of the romantic aspects of the comic, and some people just didn't like, more gay robots. I guess some people are still upset about that, but. And we talked about it when we reviewed it last week that we recognized it would be controversial, but we thought it was an interesting it was a courageous direction to take the story. I thought it was this makes me more sad that we won't see more of this in the future since Mairghread's not working on it.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love her work. I'm really gonna miss this.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope at least the fact that she's writing the First Strike crossover means that she's not done with the Transformers continuity, so hopefully she'll be back for future stories. I
just honestly I don't get the issue people are taking with this particular issue of the Transformers comics, right? And I tweeted about it, and it's because honestly it's this is nothing new for Transformers comics.
Mm-mm.
Right? I mean, Charles knows the issue that fucking Chrome Dome and Rewind were revealed as being together, right? How long has it been, Charles? What anniversary are they coming up on?
Oh god, that was what, 2013 when issue 16 of More Than Meets the Eye.
Jesus Christ! Look at this guy.
Who needs McFeely?
Fuck.
But yeah, so it was 2013 where they first had that was Rewind's farewell issue where he left that message to Chrome Dome, and then he said, "I love you" at the end of that message, and that was
such a good episode.
That was but of course before that we had the whole introduction of Conjunx Endura in issue 12 of that series, which was December of 2012. So it's been a while. I mean, for people to get used to it. So I mean, but I think more than just I think most of the fans are fine with the having relationships. I think. Maybe and this is something I've seen from a few people, and I think even for myself it's it's something I kind of have a little bit of an issue with, is there that kind of physical sexual component of robots in their relationship. So I think maybe that's something that's so when you have a couple of panels where it looks like Blast Off and Onslaught are going to kiss or something like that, and it's like, well, one guy's got a faceplate. Does how does kissing work for giant robots?
Maybe it's like Eskimo kissing. I don't know.
I mean, all joking aside, aren't these all genderless?
They're like I found when we were talking about this in our private host Discord channel. It's just like the Amazons and with Wonder Woman, a group of women on an island for millennia or whatever, given no other option, you're going to have relationships with what's around you. So, I mean, it's not really even a gender thing. It's just for however long Transformers have been only one way because whatever caused all the female Transformers to be on the various colony worlds or whatever. So it's just, I don't know, like you said, they're practically genderless.
Exactly. I don't understand how everyone's giving this all a sexual component when they're supposed to be genderless. I understand that people see them as male, right? But there's no sexual connotation to any of it.
I think that's the issue that some people raise, is that it's not even about whether, quote unquote gay or straight relationships. It's about, well, they're robots, so do they have any kind of physical intimacy, and what does that look like? And it's a little weird to make it look like they're to give it a human analog, I guess.
So then it's the person that's I would say, the person that would be misunderstanding the comic is the one with is the one that's having the issue. Then I'm trying really hard to find politically correct words for this.
The hard part about it is the whole issue is like a third rail that you don't want to touch, and
right,
this issue kind of forces it, which is kind of good in a way that it just brings it up.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's difficult. And like doing the review last week, I was just like, I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna cover this.
It drives me crazy because first of all, when you break it down, it's a fucking comic book. It doesn't matter. Right? It's a story about fictional fucking robots, and why are people losing their minds over it? Some guy on Facebook wrote that he read it and threw his copy in the garbage. I'm like, well, that's just dumb.
Well, it's a good thing it wasn't a digital copy and threw his iPad in the garbage.
But
I think those kinds of reactions, you get that everywhere. Every time something happens, I mean, this is not unique to Transformers. This is not unique to having a story happen where something does something that crosses a line for a particular person. There are people who are just going to get that bent out of shape and gonna, their rage will, just explode. And that's going to happen for anything. So, I mean, for us, I don't think any of us are going that level. Maybe with the live action movies, I don't know, but But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think it's really not worth getting that upset about, but I think we should move on.
Who knows what might happen within the next 2 issues with these characters?
Right.
Yeah.
It could all
it
just
might
be a
explain
tease.
it all. It might explain it all. So
Yeah, guess
Yep.
what? It was all a dream too.
yeah, never actually happened.
maybe it's what their avatars are doing. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're on a holodeck. You never know.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the big comic news for this week. Let's move on to our comic review. Okay, so today we are reviewing Lost Light number 6. Dissolution Part 6, This Machine Kills Fascists. Written by James Roberts, art by Jack Lawrence, colors by Joanna LaFuente, letters by Tom B. Long, editor Carlos Guzman, and publisher Ted Adams. We have 4 covers this week. Regular cover with art by Jack Lawrence and colors by Joanna LaFuente, and that features Megatron bursting forward, from exploding stuff behind him. Subscription cover A by Nick Roche and Josh Burcham is all the Lost Light main characters on the space field flying towards us, similar to all the covers that have gone for Lost Light, the Nick Roche subscription covers that have gone for the last, the first 5 issues. We also have another subscription cover B by Alex Milne and Josh Perez. And this is featuring Megatron being pulled down by functionists grabbing him. And this one has a special separate version with Josh Perez coloring it in G2 colors, where Megatron has his G2 colors. And it has a G2 tagline at the bottom, says, "What really grinds my gears."
I love that.
So
That
I
one
wonder
that's not available. It's just a fun little.
I know. I love it though. It's that tagline that gets to me. I love it.
And it's got the G2 logo at the top too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's awesome. What really grinds my
What he needs
gears.
to do is just replace Megatron with Peter Griffin.
I was gonna say.
And finally, the retailer incentive by Marcelo Mater, and that is Rung. I don't know what he's doing there. What is he looking at?
He's looking at displays,
Okay.
as one does.
Yeah. So Nicole, which of these covers are you liking here?
Oh wow, this is hard because I love all the coloring in every single one of them, but it's really weird. I say that, but I'm attracted to the Marcelo cover with Rung. There's something about it. It's just simple, but beautiful at the same time. And that's what I really like is the retail incentive cover.
Awesome. All right. Daryl, which cover are you picking?
Oh man, I don't even know how you can ask me this question because the only choice is the Alex Milne cover. That is like amazing. I love it. And Jesus, the detail in that cover, holy crap. That's phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely love it. It looks so kick-ass. So, yeah, that's my pick.
All right. Well, I asked you because I didn't know ahead of time. So that's why.
You should have known.
No, like you said, the details that Alex puts into that, oh my gosh.
All right, Jeremy, should I just assume you're going to pick the Alex Milne cover too?
No, because I'm torn. I don't know whether to pick the Alex Milne or the Marcelo. I mean, frankly, all the covers this week are really good.
Oh, I know.
So it's not one of those weeks where you have just one standout. If I were to have to pick, though, it probably would be the Marcelo, just because he doesn't do so many of the covers, and I like his art.
Cool. All right, well, I'm going to make it a split decision here, and I'm going to pick the Alex Milne cover.
Damn right.
Especially if I can get Josh Perez to give me a print of the G2 colored version.
If the G211 was available, I would I would say that one.
Yeah.
Because the tagline, I'm like, awesome.
I've been basing the album art that like for each episode on whichever cover got the most people liking it. So,
and it's the G2.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the G2.
I'm not kidding. If that G2 one was available, that would have got my vote for sure. Mm-hmm. But like you said, every single one of these is perfectly gorgeous and amazing. And yeah, I'll be picking up all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Jack Lawrence regular cover is pretty good looking too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
They're all really good this week.
Mm-hmm.
I love that blue that Joanna used.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty.
All right, well, let's get into the comic. We return to where we left off at the end of issue 5. Team Rodimus has hijacked the Functionist Council's ship, the Cog, and is heading towards the refugee city of Adaptica. The Functionists have turned Luna 2 into a giant harvester weapon, and it's destroying the city. Rung wants to crash the Cog into Luna 2 to destroy it and thwart the Functionist plans. But Rodimus needs the moon to teleport his team back to Necroworld so they can return to their universe. Rung declares that he can't let Rodimus stop him from using the Cog to destroy Luna 2. But Rodimus is so focused on getting home and getting Getaway that he won't let anything stand in his way. He punches Rung square in the jaw, knocking him flat. Rewind comes over to help Rung up and asks Rodimus just what the hell is he doing? Rodimus finally comes to his senses and realizes he can't leave this alternate Cybertron to the oppression of the Functionists, just to settle his vendetta with Getaway. As the Cog continues its collision course with Luna 2, Chrome Dome asks Rodimus, do we stay the course? And Rodimus orders everyone off the ship, as he will pilot the Cog himself to ram it into the moon, hopefully destroying it. But before Rodimus can make this noble sacrifice, the Cog is shot down by a laser cannon on the surface. Terminus was aiming for Luna 2's tractor beams to save Megatron before he was sucked into the harvester. Terminus managed to clip the moon's tractor beam and free Megatron, but he shot down the Cog in the process. Drift and Ratchet emerge from the wreckage of the Cog and start looking for the others. They find Rung, apparently unhurt, but doing some modifications to the back of his neck. Ratchet realizes what he's doing and tells Rung to stop, warning that not only will he kill himself, but he'll inflict unimaginable pain on himself as well. But Rung won't be dissuaded and just tells Ratchet to stand back. Meanwhile, Terminus, Megatron, and the other Adaptica survivors rescue Rodimus and the crew from the Cog wreckage. Terminus apologizes to Rodimus for shooting them down, but Rodimus isn't really listening. Minimus Ambus gives Rodimus a communicator to talk to Brainstorm. Brainstorm's told him that they only have 20 minutes to get back to Necroworld before they miss their chance to return to their home universe. But Rodimus doesn't take the communicator immediately. He's distracted by the Titan-sized Rung that has just appeared and is now defending Adaptica from the Harvester Moon. Rung has wired the mass displacement generator the Functionists attached to him directly into his neural cluster, enabling him to grow to an enormous size and mass at the expense of extreme pain. Meanwhile, back on the surface of Necroworld, Kaput is leading Anode along with Nautica and Velocity through a field of Energon flowers. Anode is still coping with the fact that her partner Lug is dead, and the Lug she'd been talking to when she woke up in Necroworld was a hallucination brought on by time sickness. Nautica hands back the Sentio Metallico crystal she took from Anode and tries to comfort her, mentioning that she recently lost someone very close to her as well. Kaput leads them to a particular flower, telling Anode that the Necrobot did find Lug right before she died, and managed to capture a bit of her dying spark's energy into this flower. Kaput thought showing her this flower would help Anode get closure by saying goodbye to her friend. But Anode has a different idea. She grabs the flower and runs back to the Metabay in the Necrobot's fortress. Anode thinks she can transfer the last bit of Lug's spark into the Sentio Metallico and create a new Transformer body, essentially resurrecting her. She works with Kaput to extract the spark into the living metal, creating a new protoform. She then uses all her blacksmith skills to reforge and revive her friend. It's touch and go, but it looks like the operation is a success, until the protoform's temperature starts dropping. But Anode won't give up and keeps working to save Lug. Back on Functionist Cybertron, Rodimus is still a bit flabbergasted by the whole situation. On the communicator from Necroworld, Brainstorm tells him to focus and figure out a way to get to the teleporter on Luna 2 so his team can escape back to Necroworld. But Rodimus tells him that they're in a quid pro quo situation. They can't leave until they destroy Luna 2 and stop the Functionists, but they need Luna 2 to teleport and escape. Quid pro quo. Roller comes up with an elegant solution. Teleport the whole moon away and with them and solve both problems at once. The plan's decided, and Rodimus tells Anti-Vocationist League leader Clicker to take them to the nearest matter transporter so they can get to the surface of Luna 2 and rig the teleporters from there. Terminus decides he's going to stay on this Cybertron and continue the fight against the Functionist tyranny. Megatron asks Rodimus for 1 minute to say his goodbyes. Rodimus is still skeptical, but Megatron gives his word that he won't desert them. Rodimus and the crew leave to find the nearest teleporter, but it's busted. 9 of 12 leads them to another one close by, and Roller sends Terminus the coordinates so that Megatron can meet them there. Terminus makes one last attempt to convince Megatron to stay, but Megatron bids farewell and tells Terminus that he has to keep his word in order for him to be the bot that Terminus believes him to be. As they hurry to leave, Rung's broken body, back to its original size and mass, falls back to the surface. He sacrificed himself to buy them this chance. In the new teleporter, Rodimus is pissed that Megatron isn't there yet. Time is running out and they have to leave now, but Rodimus won't go without Megatron. In a Batman vs. Superman Martha moment, Minimus Ambus agrees that they can't let Megatron get away. Upon hearing those words, Rodimus decides they've got bigger fish to fry and says they're leaving without him. Ratchet thanks Clicker for his help, and Clicker does the same, thanking them for saving them from the Functionists. Rodimus gives the word, and Clicker activates the teleporter, just as Megatron runs into a completely different teleportation chamber. Megatron runs out, telling Terminus that they weren't at the coordinates he gave them. But there's no time to argue as they look up in the sky and see Luna 2 vanish in a flash of light. Megatron is crestfallen, but Terminus tells him they've given him a second chance. Megatron replies that they'd already done that. On Necroworld and back in our Transformers universe, nearly everyone is accounted for. Ratchet gives Rung a big bear hug. This is our Rung, not the Functionist version Rung. And Roller asks Anode about her new backpack. Anode smiles, knowing that she was able to save her partner Lug after all. Brainstorm asks Rodimus where's Megatron, but Rodimus just scowls with rage. Back on Functionist Cybertron, Megatron is now leading the resistance. He gives an inspiring speech to several bots, including an alternate universe glitch, about how they must show all the bots that have not been directly hurt by the Functionists how destructive their rule has been for Cybertron. They must continue to talk until they are ready to listen, teach until they are ready to learn, and eventually overthrow the Functionist Council so that everyone can live freely. Megatron has a new motto: peace through empathy. After his speech, Megatron stands alone on a peak, looking up and contemplating the stars. Then the communicator on his hip buzzes. Someone has finally responded to Roller's multiple calls. In this universe, on a Cybertron dominated and oppressed by the Functionists, Megatron has a new chance to gain a new ally and friend, Orion Pax. The end.
Aww.
So Megatron's left in the Functionist universe. He doesn't continue on. I did think it was a good story. It's a little bittersweet, that ending. I mean, Megatron has been such a driving force for more than meets the eye for the past couple of years. It's kind of sad taking him out of the picture here.
It just doesn't feel like his story is complete.
Yeah. I will say, after reading this issue, I'm pretty convinced that Terminus deliberately gave Megatron the wrong coordinates.
Oh, he did. It's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because he gets it, and then he never actually tells Megatron the new coordinates. He just says, you have to hurry, they're about to go.
Yeah. And I did like that when with Megatron now leading this new resistance, that Glitch is there, because of course we know in the main universe Glitch eventually became Tarn, but now hopefully he won't have that same dark path now that Megatron's turned over a new leaf. I hope that they're going to somehow, some way get back to the Functionist universe, and somehow Megatron will come back into the picture.
I'm sure once he realizes that Terminus prevented him from making it back, there's a story there.
Yeah.
But it is probably, it's hard to do a book with Megatron in it without him being the focus. So he did need to be taken off the board. I can logically see that. Doesn't mean I'm very happy about it, because I was enjoying this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense. Especially, obviously, we're actually getting to the Lost Light finally in this book. So
I hope.
Yeah. So, there's going to be other, big characters involved.
Mm-hmm. The last thing I just was taking notes here. I still feel like the whole Anode introduction and subplot, it felt like a bit of a waste to me. At least I hope going forward her character gets some more to do, and maybe she has more more of a purpose in the rest of the series, but it felt like we already had talked about how the story had some pacing problems. This was drawn out to 6 issues, and I feel like every issue we had a bit that was was spent on her story, and it felt like all that we got from her was a little bit of the lore of what how the forging process for Sparks, which I'm not complaining about that. I like getting new lore, but I feel like the story was, that it was dragged out because you had to have that extra space for her story. And
well, do you think that forging might come into play to bring back Megatron in a way?
I don't know. It doesn't feel. I don't know if you can use it to hop through universes, but
Megatron's not dead.
Yeah, it's true.
He's just stuck in a parallel universe.
I
don't know.
I think I know what's been bothering me about that Anode story. It's just the constant going back and forth between one story and the other. And this is a thing that IDW has done for a while. And I think I've just finally gotten to the point where I'm like, bring back backup stories in comics and put all of those pages together in their own story at the end of the book. So you get your main story and you get your backup story like comics used to have. And I think it would be accepted a lot more, because it's just a constant going back and forth, where I know a lot of times the writers are trying to do parallels in both stories, like what we see in the Optimus Prime book, but it's very hard to pull off. And more times than not, it's not done as well as it should have been done. Mm-hmm. So I'm now of the opinion that just give us maybe like a 16-page main story and a 4-page backup or something like that. I think it would go over a lot better.
And I will say, I thought the art for this issue was really good. I think the colors and combined with Jack Lawrence's art, so Joanna LaFuente's colors combined with Jack Lawrence's art, worked really well in this story. It felt a little bit more epic with all the shots of the moon over Cybertron destroying things, and then you have the giant rung, and it's very colorful because all the bots have really nice different colors. This is all the color that's missing from the last night, I guess. But yeah, I thought this worked really well. So Nicole, what did you think of this issue?
Well, I didn't get caught up. So I kind of skipped from issue 2 to 6. So, but you know what, for just a standalone issue, I was still able to catch up what was going on with the series. It wasn't like, what, who are these people or anything. So I think that goes to show how well the writing was on it. Like you said, the colors and the artwork were beautiful. Jack Lawrence is doing a great job. Yeah. I don't know. The only part I could say, and like, they kind of glossed over Rung's death really quick. And I was just like, I don't know if that was on purpose, but I just felt like, oh, he's dead. Let's move on, you know. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I'm sad I won't see Megatron anymore because I still think he's like one of the best written characters in a lot of series out there. But I understand what you guys were saying earlier, that he kind of needs to be taken out of the series so the other characters can kind of grow, because when he's in the story, most of the focus is on him.
We need a self-titled Megatron book.
That would be awesome. I would be all for that.
Yeah. Yep. I think when you mentioned about Rung, when the crew gets back to the regular universe, there is a panel with Ratchet going over to our Rung and hugging him.
Yeah.
I think that's as much as we get.
I don't know. I just didn't. It didn't seem like it was that big of an impact. I mean, here the little guy just he did the whole Ant-Man Giant Man thing and sacrificed himself, and it was it. You know, I don't know. That's like my big complaint. That and it wasn't a big complaint at all, but that's my one big complaint.
That's fair enough. All right, Daryl, what did you think?
I also liked the story. It was good. I enjoyed the battle at the start. I agree with you that Megatron was purposely kept there. I think that I don't think we've seen the last of Megatron. I think give it a few issues, 2, maybe 3 issues, and he'll be back. I don't think he's gone very long. He's been, honestly, Megatron's been, if not one of the best characters in this book.
Oh yeah,
so
sure.
You can't eliminate the best character in the book, and so I think he'll be back very soon. I don't particularly like the Anode story. I was happy when in the last issue when they kind of settled it down and said, okay, well, Lug's dead and, you know, you're kind of crazy, but okay, we'll figure, you know, this stuff out. And then it opened Anode's character up for more possibilities. They could take her in different directions, you know, maybe do something different, you know, I don't know, specifically do something different with her. But this issue, we're right back where we started with her. I can get Lug. Okay, let's get Lug, and I'm gonna do, you know, something with Lug. So, you know, we're not done with the Anode Lug story. I loved the images of super huge shit.
Rung?
What's his name?
Rung,
yes, super huge Rung battling the moon. I thought that was amazing. I think that's fantastic because you don't ever think of Rung as being tough or powerful at all. And if this is a capability that he has, then that's awesome. The way the book ended, and I mean, as I read it, I saw that the non-Tarn was there. And, you know, as Megatron basically took all of these kind of rebels under his wing and was going to train them to, you know, to fight back, but in a, you know, a calculated, more diplomatic way. I thought that was really good. On the end of the book, though, when he got the call on the little satellite phone, whatever, interdimensional phone, whatever. Yeah. I honestly, I I didn't think it was Orion Pax. I thought he might have gotten a call from Brainstorm or something like that. I thought that's who he was talking to. I mean, it doesn't say anywhere that it's Orion Pax. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're pulling this from issues ago that you remember this.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Can I explain?
You certainly will, I'm sure. But obviously it doesn't say anywhere that it's Orion Pax.
You are right. It does not say that it's Orion Pax. Where I am inferring that from is because in the previous issue, he talks to Roller about, Roller asks, well, did you ever think about what happened to the bots we knew in the previous universe and where they are, what they're doing? Right. And he says, in particular, I've been trying to contact Orion Pax using his personal frequency over and over again, but he hasn't responded. And Megatron said, well, that leads me to the conclusion that he's either dead or unavailable, somewhere far away and not able to answer. So the implication was that, so Roller was using this same phone to call Orion Pax over and over and over again, and he never answered, and now he's finally answering. And specifically it says, Roller, is that you? So he's answering Roller's messages.
Right. But did Roller give this phone to him? Did we see this at some point?
I mean, we didn't see him hand him the phone, but
what are you saying here? We're supposed to just infer everything?
There's only been one phone that looked like that in the book.
Oh. All right.
Your mama's phone. No,
the fact that the caller says, Roller, is that you? Who else would be looking for Roller?
Doesn't matter. His mother?
Transformers don't have mothers.
And who else would give Megatron those glassy eyes? The next controversial book is going to be Megatron and Orion Pax together at last.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Megatron's mother.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be awesome.
I liked the book. I don't know. I'm glad that the Functionist bit is over, and I do hope that they get back to the actual ship that the book is named after.
Yes, that would be nice.
Or get to it, because it hasn't been back, in this series.
Right.
We haven't seen it at all.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah. So this is the end of the first story arc of Lost Light. I think this is another example where those, you mentioned those backup strips. I would have liked to have had, throughout this story, a backup strip of what was going on with the actual Lost Light and the Mutineers. But
yeah, I mean, that would have been great. And then when we get back to the Lost Light, you could have a backup story with Megatron in the Functionist universe.
Yep.
There are all sorts of things you can do with that gimmick.
Yep.
But also, I think this was like 3 issues of story spread out through 6 issues, and that was to its detriment.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it for Lost Light number 6. All right. Let's move on to some Transformers media news.
All right. Well, we got an interesting thing here from Emmanuel Santalucia.
Emiliano.
Yeah, yes. Naming. Yes.
Emiliano Santalucia.
Yes. And it's a really cool piece of concept art from Combiner Wars. So take a look at that. It's pretty kick-ass. It's definitely not the awesome TV show that we got. I don't know who would make that mistake.
I just noticed in the background they have a Quintesson, and then the little pillar or the flags in the back have all the various faction symbols, including like Maximals and Predacons and Viacons, Minicons.
Cool. That's one of my favorite details. I think it's awesome. It would only be better if they didn't include Skylinks.
Oh,
he's not my favorite character.
We also got a whole shit ton of Transformers The Last Night stuff. So I am not going through very much of this at all. There's a lot of TV spots, which I'm fairly certain have shown the entire movie at this point. So if you want to see the movie for free, grab all the TV spots, put them in order. There you go. There is also some ratings on some of the trailers. They are rated L. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm fairly certain it's lousy. So that is for those trailers. Yeah, there's a lot of posters that are popping up. There's some new profiles. We talked about those before. Yeah, lots of crazy media blitz stuff that comes along with all the movies. So take a look at that if you're interested. We also got some episode descriptions for Robots in Disguise, episodes 8 through 11. If you're interested in those, take a look. And that's it.
Let's move on to some convention news.
All right, a couple bits in convention news this week. The TF Nation has announced that Simon Furman is going to be attending their show this year. He is a prolific writer. He wrote a lot of the Marvel and UK and US G1 run. He's done Dreamwave, IDW, and he also is currently working with Space Ape Games on the Earth Wars fiction. He will also be talking about his current project, To the Death, which he's trying to get. I think the Kickstarter was over and didn't fully fund, but he's still trying to get that done. And I think that's with Jeff Sr.
Yeah, I backed that Kickstarter. I was disappointed it didn't make it.
Yeah. But TF Nation is from August 11th through 13th in Birmingham, UK. So if you're in the area, check it out. And then over on this side of the Atlantic, TFCon Toronto has announced that Nick Roach is going to be attending. And he, as most people know, he's the writer and artist of Last Stand of the Wreckers and Sins of the Wreckers. Conveniently, he also did the artwork on the Respect the Prime Convention edition. So if you go there, you can buy the album, get him to sign it. And he's a great company at breakfast, as Daryl and I both know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is July 14th through 16th in Mississauga in Canada. So if you're checking it out, go say hi to him and then find me and Daryl and say hi to us too. So and
Nick Roach is a doll.
He is. He's awesome. If you see a like swarm of female Transformer fans, Nick Roach is probably somewhere in the middle of that.
Most likely.
So anyway, that is convention news.
The ladies.
Yeah. So that's convention news this week.
All right. Well, Jeremy, stay on your mic because you're doing feedback too.
Yeah. So feedback. I posted a question on our Facebook page after the Till All Are One cancellation news came out, just basically asking what are your thoughts on the news and the state of IDW Transformer books. And we got a good amount of responses. So I think I might start doing this more regularly just to see if I can, get people to get engaged on the Facebook side of things. So got some of the responses here. Kevin Dorsey said, "This is so sad. Out of the 3 Transformer books, this is my favorite." And I have to wonder, he was wondering about the Bumblebee and Shockwave, and I'll let him know that was kind of answered in the Transformers Annual, which he apparently hadn't read yet. Jim Simonik, Gemmers of Respect the Prime fame, says that he feels like the golden age that began in late 2011 is over. Nothing's really felt right since Revolution, and they took 2 books that were working rather well, added a 3rd, and then completely rebranded. And he feels that IDW is making the same mistakes that currently has Marvel in trouble. Stop with the relaunching and renumbering and just give us our books proper. Mm-hmm. And he's dying for some more Barbara Griffith Cybertron stories because our idea is what got him hooked. Walter Lopez Jr. Says, "This upsets me. Till All Are One was my favorite of the 3 main Transformer books. I enjoyed the diverse cast, the unique stories, and how consistent Mairghread's writing was. XRD and More Than Meets the Eye got kneecapped by Revolution, but Till All Are One hit the ground running afterwards." And then Jonathan Hunter said, "Truthfully, I stopped reading them all. However, Till All Are One started as the most interesting." Chris Cash said, "Boo."
I don't think he made it long enough. It's more like, boo.
Yeah, there were a lot of those there.
I was saying boo earns.
Okay. Chris Kent said, "Don't want to be negative or a troll or whatever. I've just never seen eye to eye with IDW's approach. Darker than I'd like, he's more of a Sunbone fan. So he'd be more excited if a new company came along with a different feel. Hopefully they could hire the artist too. he's followed Alex Milne on DeviantArt before IDW got started and thinks that he's tremendously talented.
Don't let Alex hear that. He'll make his head big.
Yeah, well, he is tremendously talented.
No, he really is. He really is.
Yeah. Jonathan Brown said all series are suffering from slow plots that are written for the trade. Although this was the best of the current ones, he understands why, due to Optimus being integral to the Hasbro universe and more than ECI being what it is. Still sucks though. Ellie Knight, who we mentioned on feedback on the main show this week, said that she was devastated when she heard the news. To All or One was her favorite book, and IDW Transformers isn't going to be the same without it. There was so much more story than we could have had, but now we won't. And she's really disappointed in whoever made the decision to cancel it, and she just hopes that the team gets put to work on a new book together, because they work together really well. And Dominic Garteg said, "Oh wow, but looking at the low sales of the Transformer books currently, one could have seen it coming." And that's sadly true as well. So that is all the feedback we got. If people like that format, I'm going to try it again a few more times and see if we can get some more responses, because I thought that worked pretty well.
Yeah. And I really hope that Sarah Peter Durocher, they can find some way to get her some regular art duties on a Transformers themed comic somewhere, because
she can draw the robots.
She can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll come to the end of another. Yeah, it's a pretty kind of a downer, but yeah. But we want to thank you again, Nicole, for hanging out with us.
You want to thank me for my antics? Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me again. I always have so much fun with you guys. I really do.
We knew what we were getting, and we got it, and we're happy.
I love you guys. I look forward to your shows, twice a week. So.
And Nicole, for the people who don't listen to our main show, tell them where they can find you on the interwebs.
Well, first of all, you should listen to the main show, because I'm hilarious. No, I'm joking. No, just like I said.
It's true, actually.
Yeah. Google Beatles Diva. That's Beatles like the band, not the bug, and you'll pretty much find me. I think there's only one Beatles Diva out there. It's most likely me. So, yeah, just Google that. You'll find every account that I have. So.
All right. Well, that's it for another episode. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Bye, everybody.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Transmissions. Remember, you can help support the show by donating to us directly via Patreon or PayPal. Once you become a donor, you will receive access to donor-only goodies, like donor-only contests, listening to us record Transmissions live, and getting Transmissions swag at 20% off. You can find links for this at transmissionspodcast.com/support. Subscribing to us on Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play is also a great way to support us here at Transmissions. Every subscription we get helps us get better noticed on those services. Leaving us a comment and 5-star review doesn't hurt either. Be sure to come chat with us on Discord. You will find a link for Discord at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. And of course, you can always send us an email at feedback@transmissionspodcast.com. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
I had completely forgotten about the comic review.
I grabbed the wrong thing. Okay.
That's
We're all
what
here.
she said.
Cord. That's what I feel.
Okay.
I'm glad you didn't record that last part. It just.
You can go to bed.
All right.
Or you can just fall asleep on the show.
Well, I don't really talk about anything here, so.
Except for the whole media news section.
Are you still editing the intro?
Yes.
Earth Wars.
Earth Wars. Sorry, I don't know what it must be the cheese. Let me just start.
We need to call 911.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.